So, hello everyone. I hope that you've had a wonderful trading week thus far, right? As you were handed, the bias, you know, the correct way to trade, twice in this week, right? And we talked about when we expected the low of the week to be in for certain asset classes, right? And at times, right, whenever I say the low of the week, right, I'm usually referring to any of the assets within a triad, right? So at times, right, you will see, for example, the low of the week will be, in for the S&P 500, but it will not be in for the Nasdaq. So most times, as long as we trade below the true open, right, and we have sequential SMT occurs, that's, when I really look at the low of the week, or that's when I categorize that as, right? Because why? We use Monday, to just, form a bias to get an idea of what is to come, because that's what Monday does. That's what the first quarter does. That's what the AZ session does, right? And that's something that we already know, right? So as I said, right, Monday and Tuesday, we did not expect much to happen, but we did have, right, and this is important. I believe we had sequential SMT on, was it Tuesday, I believe, which said price, a little bit lower. But what was the reason for that? To send price below the true open of the week, right? So far the low of the week, right, and I will explain it further, right, is Wednesday, right, as, we expected. So we expected this week to be to close upwards, right, to be a bullish week. That was what we expected for the S&P 500, the Nasdaq, and the Dow. And so far that's the way that price has moved in. Now here you can see that we have sequential SMT, right, between this quarter, or this current week and the previous week, right? So here there is something to take into consideration, right? We had the low of the week being when? Friday. Whenever you have the low of the week being Friday, right, you can expect the week after to be explosive just based on that, right? As long as we have what we have here, sequential SMT, right? So this week was extended, right? And I always say what? Whenever you see Q1 extend like this, right? Whenever you see Q1 just, moving like this, right? Just one direction, what should you expect, right? You should always expect price to, at least pull back within the range. And here, right, and I explained this before, and, that we would see, price go high, as you guys remember, right? This was our target buy side liquidity for the S&P 500. This was our target buy side liquidity for the Nasdaq, and we were looking at these highs for the Dow, right? Before we go forward, what caused price, to go higher? What's the main reason? Simply sequential SMT. That's the main reason, right? There are other things behind this. Of course, we have other mechanics, but this is the main thing that you need to, look for. Is it necessary all the time? No, but if you base your model on this, will you be right more times than not within your analysis, within your trades? Yes, you will be, right? If you understand this, if you understand sequential SMT, the only thing left for you to master is yourself, right? How do you master yourself? And I posted something relating to this on Twitter today. You must, if you're a person that's emotionally reactive, that, if, for example, someone posts something about you, you get mad. Someone says something to you, you get mad. Someone says something about you, you get mad. You start arguing. You start, you're against the world now. That's a sign that, you need to lay back and, just look into yourself, right? You need to study yourself, right? What is something that I keep doing that I don't like to do, right? For example, over trading, that's something, but this is within trading, right? There are things outside of the trading realm that, it's going to have an influence of how you manage your risk. It's going to have an influence on how well you follow your trading plan, right? How well you follow your strategy, right? If outside you're a person that, you can't stop drinking for some reason. And, we've all been there, right? We've all been, you just can't stop. Whether it's that you have a problem, personal problem, or, you just do it because you're lonely, you're bored, whatever it might be, no judging, right? You need to kick that to the curb. And why is that? Because the fact that, you can't stop, and there may be times when you just drink until, you start feeling sick. And then the next morning you do it again. The other day you do it again, right? You're hurting yourself. And, above all things, you're losing sleep, which is going to hurt your performance in the marketplace, right? You need to take care of yourself. You need to take care of your mind before you can come and take care of your account, right? That's very important. That's extremely important. You could be the best analyst in the world, but due to the fact that you're not disciplined outside of the charts, it's going to affect you when you're, sitting down to trade. You have a dirty room, it's going to affect you. You can't trade with a cluttered room. You can't trade or, be functional fully, to the point at which you wish to be, if you're just surrounded by, muck. No, you must fix outside before you can come here in the marketplace and perform as you want to. And that's just to, answer some questions on psychology that I've seen some of you guys asking, right? So yes, we saw sequential SMT here between the previous week and this week. The fact that we had price extend led us to believe that price would, fill the voids, which were left by, this extension of price action to the downside. So here, Monday's price action, remember what we said, right? Usually whenever Q1 expands like this, we expect price to at least return to it. That's it. Fill the gaps within Q1. So here, first, due to the fact that, and this is, you got to listen right now, don't be confused. Due to the fact that we had price extend like this, last week, the entire week, right? We had price extend like this. What do we expect going into this week? Okay, we can expect price to fill these voids. There's buy side liquidity here. There's voids above the buy side liquidity, right? You can expect that to happen. But before that happens, what do you want to see? You want to see sequential SMT. That's like the easiest thing you can look for, right? Okay, Monday expands. Okay, that's already a sign that we're going to, be going higher, which is something that I said. Remember, right? We dropped. Why did we drop? Because of the 2 week open. The 2 week open is here, right? Price consolidated here on Tuesday, right? Then drop, then just expanded. After the sequential SMT was established. So here, when we're going to look at, other things that led to the expansion, of course, but this is just the basics, which, you all know. First of all, we had sequential SMT around here. And for those of you that must see it here, right, you can see that wick right there. If you go on the 50-minute time frame, I believe that you'll see a closure, right? Well, even here you can see a closure, right, on the 4-hour time frame. So yeah, so between Tuesday and Monday we had sequential SMT, right, which is why we saw price do this. If you realize everything is working, together, right? It's working together. It's a system. It's systematic. It's working together. It happens over and over, right? We can, predict these things with a, high rate of profitability, in regards to our trades, and probability, a high rate of probability, right? And we do it over and over, right? There's a reason why I don't go on Twitter, and it just, you see, this is it. Anything that you see that's free, you're the product, right? And this is why on Twitter you'll see people just posting, hindsight, or ignoring their losses, or they don't even take a trade in the first place, right? They just go there, post a chart, and then that's it. Or they go there, they record a trade, but they don't talk about the movement, beforehand. They can't do it over and over. Whenever they get it wrong, they blame it on someone else. Right? They blame it on someone else. They do not blame it on themselves. Am I perfect? No, we all know that. There's sometimes when, it's wrong. When it's wrong, it's wrong. Right? Well, when it's correct, like today, this week, this entire week, with every asset class, we're correct. Right? Bitcoin, Forex, futures, stocks. That's how we do it. And this is why it's important to manage your risk. Because there will be times when you will make a mistake. But there will be times when you're just spot on. And when it's so correct, you know what's going to happen before. You know the reason why price is going to move. You know where price is going to move. You know why price should move there. It just happens over and over. Right? So yes, here, just to go over again, sequential SMT, here, sequential SMT, here, sequential SMT, here. Price ran below this low, failure swing, price went higher, and tagged or drawn liquidity. Here now we're looking at the 1 hour time frame, right? So there are a few things that you must take in consideration here, right? The first thing is that, right, we saw price here return to this daily gap, but failed to trade into the immediate new week opening gap. The immediate new week opening gap is the opening gap of the current week, basically. But here's when it gets better. First, here we fail to trade into or below the current new week opening gap, right? Here the same thing happened. Here we formed a swing low below it, and we also had a higher time frame sequential SMT. This in itself, that's a cracking correlation. Do you understand? This in itself is extremely precise, which is why we were looking for this said thing to happen, right? And this is why whenever you have the you have sequential SMT between the monthly cycle, which is the weeks of the month, it's just one of the best things you could look for, right? And whenever you have, for example, sequential SMT prior to this happening, like a lower time for sequential SMT here, which is something that I talked about before, what will happen? The magneto effect. So we had sequential SMT here at the lows, but we had a lower time for sequential SMT here. Price is going to draw to that, aggressively, given that, you have a news event on these days. There are times when you will see price expand without news, but whenever it happens, it looks like this, right? No news here, what happens? The price expanded a bit, then it just chopped around on Tuesday. Sequential SMT here. Okay, now this became a draw on liquidity. Future draw on liquidity was created here at this high, right? Future draw on liquidity was created here in this high, right here. What do they say about whenever you see highs form within a new week opening gap? Remember, Remember this? This high right here, ready to form within this new week opening gap. And I told you that price will draw to that high aggressively. Why? Because of this. So it's basically more complex than this, but it's the easiest way that I can explain it, and it works. You see it here, highs were formed here. What happened? Sequence SMT, boom. Price dropped here below this low, which is from where? Within this new week opening gap. What happened? Price filled this gap, expanded upwards. Around this time, what did we say? Well, it was around this time, I believe. What did we say? We're expecting price, to just follow the bias. What was the bias? We were bullish, right? Here, these lows right here, new week opening gap. I used 10 of them, by the way, right? I use this indicator. Don't know who this person is, but very smart individual to be able to make this. And this is the settings that I use. Usually it's just me focusing on the new opening gaps for now, right? There are other things that you could focus on, but for now this is what we're just using, right? So lows here, price sweeps the lows which were formed within this new week opening gap. This, right, price action of the Dow Jones is already below the current new week opening gap. The immediate new week opening gap forms a swing low. When we have high impact news event, then what happens? Or after we have a high impact news event, then what happens? Price expands. Remember what I said before about CPI? Some people say don't trade CPI. Some people are afraid of CPI. What do we say about CPI? Right? Whenever you have sequential SMT form, prior to or after CPI, I used like 30 minutes, just for a safe time frame. 30 minutes before, 30 minutes after, you have the formation of sequential SMT. Trade within that direction. How much times have you seen this happen? How much times have you seen sequential SMT happen? Right? You don't even need that accuracy. You don't even need to be right, that many times. All you need to do, you just need literally, you could even have less than 50% accuracy as long as your head is, in game mode. As long as you're focused, as long as you're following your risk, you'll be okay. You're not trying to hit home runs. You just want to, do what your system tells you to do. Right? So this was correct. Here again, right? You can here, I believe we didn't want to see price just run about the dollar index like this. And yes, another thing to take into consideration here is, remember I said that whenever you see the dollar within consolidation, what happens? You'll see the expansion here, right, within these assets. Anyways, here we had sequential SMT. Also here, right, on the lower time frame, the daily cycle, right, we also had sequential SMT. Not daily cycle, my bad. The weekly cycle, we also had sequential SMT here. Right, so we had sequential SMT here, then we had it here again. This right here is a precision swing point. This down close candle right here. You guys can, just zoom in and take this into consideration in your studies, and you'll see. So sequential SMT, price return into the range. Sequential SMT, right, price to return into the range. Sequential SMT, what happened? Price return into the range. Right? A long way to go, but return into the range. And that's all you need to see. Just, some form of movement, even just this. Right? Even if it were just this alone. Okay, you short here, you get out here, you risk, 1 for 3, 1%, you're good. Right? Even if you get out here and price price reverses, you don't care. Okay, here, precision swing point here. Here. You trade here, price goes here. You could come out here. You don't care where it goes afterwards. You just want to see sequential SMT. You just want to see a precision swing point. You just want to see sequential SMT, then a precision swing point. But you can mix this anyway. You can look for a precision swing point, or you can look for just, you can look for a sequential SMT within a precision swing point, right? You can mirror it. As long as it's there, there's a chance that price will reverse, right? Here, right, we see price expand. Here we see price expand. Why did price expand like this? Why does the stock market, why did it expand? Okay. Whatever occurs within the index futures triad, right? If there's sequential SMT, price should go higher. What should you expect? You should expect stocks to go higher. It's just common sense, right? If there's bearish sequential SMT, expect a red day or a red week in regards to the stock market. If it's a bullish sequence SMT, expect the opposite. I hope that you found this useful. I believe that you did. I know that you did. Right? You found this very useful. I touched on the points that I wanted to touch on. This was a very good week, right? For me too. Even though, right now I don't have all of my monitors right now, so it's, bit getting used to. I'm traveling very soon. Then I will, have my new home and everything is intact, just waiting for me. Right then, we'll have longer sessions and everything like that. Everything that is nice. So yeah, again, I hope you found this useful. We will speak again Sunday, or Monday. It depends on whenever we have a Hangback News event. With that being said, have a wonderful week.